Inflation is slowing down. That sounds like good news. And technically it is. But then you walk into a grocery store, grab the same eggs, bread, milk, chicken, cereal, coffee, and snacks you always buy, and somehow the total at checkout still feels ridiculous. So what is going on? If inflation is cooling, why does grocery shopping still feel so expensive? The answer is simple but easy to misunderstand. Slower inflation does not mean prices are going back down. It means prices are still rising, just more slowly than before. Imagine you are driving a car at 90 miles per hour, then you slow down to 50. You are not reversing. You are still moving forward. You are just moving forward more slowly. That is basically what happens with inflation. When people hear inflation is down, they often expect prices to fall. But in most cases, prices do not fall. They just stop rising as quickly. So if your grocery bill jumped from $120 to $160 over the past few years, slower inflation might mean it rises to $165 instead of $180. That is better than before, but it still does not feel cheap. And groceries are one of the places where people feel this most. You might not notice a 5% increase in some abstract economic report, but you definitely notice when a bag of chips costs more, a cereal box gets smaller, or a basic family grocery run suddenly feels like a major expense. The grocery store is where inflation becomes personal. One of the biggest reasons groceries still feel expensive is that prices are sticky. That means once prices go up, they do not always come back down quickly. Sometimes they never fully come back down at all. A company may raise prices because ingredients, labor, fuel, packaging, or transportation became more expensive. But once customers get used to the new price, the company does not always rush to lower it again. If a product used to sell for $3.99 and now sells for $5.40, the company may discover that people still buy it. Maybe they complain, maybe they buy it less often, but many still buy it because it is part of their normal routine. So even if some costs come down later, the shelf price may stay high. That is frustrating for shoppers, but from a business perspective, it is not surprising. Companies protect their margins. Grocery stores protect their margins. Food manufacturers protect their margins. And the consumer is often the last person to benefit when costs improve. Another reason groceries feel expensive is shrinkflation. Shrinkflation is when the price stays the same or even goes up while the package gets smaller. You may not notice it immediately because the box looks almost the same. The branding is the same. The shelf space is the same. The product looks familiar. But then you check closely and realize the cereal box has fewer ounces, the bag of chips has more air, the chocolate bar is slightly smaller, or the paper towel roll does not last as long. This is one of the most frustrating parts of grocery inflation because it hides in plain sight. A product can technically keep the same price, but if you are getting less of it, you are still paying more per unit. That is why unit pricing matters. The real question is not just, how much is this box? The real question is, how much am I paying per ounce, per pound, per liter, or per serving? Shrinkflation works because most shoppers are busy. They do not stand in the aisle doing math on every product. They recognize the package, grab it, and move on. And companies know that. So instead of raising the price from $4.99 to $5.49, a brand might keep the price at $4.99 but reduce the amount inside. It feels less obvious. But over time, your grocery budget feels tighter because you have to buy more often. Then there is the supply chain. Food is not just sitting magically on shelves. Every item in the grocery store has a long journey behind it. A loaf of bread depends on wheat, farming equipment, labor, packaging, electricity, trucking, warehouse storage, and store labor. A carton of orange juice depends on crops, weather, disease, processing, refrigeration, and transportation. A pack of chicken depends on feed prices, farm operations, processing plants, fuel, packaging, and cold storage. If one part of that chain gets more expensive, the final price can rise. And food supply chains are vulnerable to all kinds of shocks. Bad weather can damage crops. Drought can reduce harvests. Floods can delay production. Disease can affect livestock or fruit trees. Wars and geopolitical conflicts can raise energy costs, fertilizer costs, or grain prices. Fuel prices can increase the cost of moving food from farms to warehouses to stores. Even if the headline inflation number improves, certain categories can still be under pressure. That is why some grocery items seem to move independently from everything else. Eggs might spike because of bird flu. Coffee might rise because of bad harvests. Olive oil might become expensive because of drought. Orange juice might jump because of crop disease. Beef might rise because of feed costs, herd sizes, and processing constraints. So when people say inflation is slowing, that does not mean every item in the store behaves the same way. The grocery store is not one price. It is thousands of prices moving for different reasons. Labor costs also matter. Every grocery item involves people. People grow it, package it, transport it, stock it, scan it, clean the store, manage inventory, and handle delivery orders. When wages rise, that can increase costs throughout the system. This is not automatically bad. Workers need to afford life too, but it does affect pricing. Grocery stores are also competing for workers with warehouses, delivery companies, restaurants, and other retailers. If they cannot hire enough people, they may raise wages, reduce hours, rely more on technology, or pass some costs into prices. Labor is especially important in food because many products require handling, refrigeration, rotation, stocking, and quality control. Fresh food is not like selling a phone case online. Produce spoils. Meat expires. Dairy has to stay cold. Shelves need constant restocking. Stores throw away damaged or expired food. All of that costs money. Energy is another hidden cost. A grocery store uses a lot of electricity. Refrigerators, freezers, lights, heating, cooling, bakeries, storage rooms, and checkout systems all cost money to run. Food also requires energy before it even reaches the store. It may need refrigeration during transport. It may need processing. It may need packaging. It may travel hundreds or thousands of miles. So when energy prices rise, food prices can rise too. Transportation is a big part of this. Trucks need fuel. Drivers need wages. Maintenance costs money. Insurance costs money. Warehouses cost money. Cold storage costs even more. This is why a product can become more expensive even if the actual ingredient did not change much. The cost of getting it to you changed. Packaging is another factor people often ignore. Food packaging depends on paper, plastic, glass, aluminum, ink, adhesives, and manufacturing. If packaging costs increase, the product can become more expensive even if the food inside is the same. Think about cereal boxes, milk cartons, yogurt cups, frozen food trays, soda cans, chip bags, plastic wrap, and shipping boxes. Packaging is everywhere in the grocery store. And once packaging suppliers raise prices, those costs can move through the system. Retailers also use pricing strategies that make groceries feel more confusing. Grocery stores are not just neutral warehouses. They are carefully designed businesses. Some items are priced low to get you in the door. Others have higher margins. Some deals require loyalty cards. Some discounts only apply if you buy multiple items. Some products are placed at eye level because brands pay for better visibility. Some private label products are positioned to look like cheaper alternatives to national brands. This creates a shopping environment where it is hard to know what a fair price really is. You might see a big sale sign and feel like you are saving money, but the sale price might still be higher than the regular price from 2 years ago. Or you might buy more than you planned because the deal says buy 2, get 1 free, even though you only needed 1. This is one reason grocery bills rise without people fully noticing in the moment. The store is designed to increase basket size. End caps, checkout snacks, seasonal displays, loyalty discounts, and limited-time offers all push you towards spending more. Even online grocery shopping can increase costs. Delivery fees, service fees, tips, higher online prices, and impulse recommendations can all add to the total. And when people shop online, they may not compare unit prices as carefully. They may repeat previous orders, choose convenience, or accept substitutions. Convenience has a cost. Another reason grocery prices feel high is that people compare today's prices to old mental anchors. You remember when a certain snack was $2.99. You remember when eggs were cheaper. You remember when a full cart cost less. Those memories become your reference point. Even if your income has changed, your brain still compares today's price to what you used to pay. That makes grocery inflation feel emotional. It is not just numbers. It feels like losing ground. And groceries are different from many other purchases because you cannot simply stop buying them. You can delay buying a new phone. You can skip a vacation. You can avoid buying new clothes for a while. But food is constant. You buy it every week, sometimes multiple times a week. So price increases hit over and over again. That repetition makes the pain more noticeable. There is also a quality trade-off happening. Some families respond to higher prices by changing what they buy. They buy fewer name brands. They switch to store brands. They buy less meat. They skip snacks. They buy frozen vegetables instead of fresh. They avoid premium products. They stretch meals further. That can help the budget, but it can also make people feel like their standard of living is slipping. Even if the grocery total stays the same, the basket may be different. Maybe you are spending the same $150, but getting less meat, fewer treats, smaller packages, or cheaper brands. That still feels like groceries are more expensive because your money buys less of what you actually want. This is one of the biggest reasons official numbers do not always match personal experience. Economic data looks at averages. Your grocery bill is personal. Your experience depends on where you live, what you eat, how many people are in your household, which stores you use, whether you buy organic, whether you cook at home, whether you have dietary restrictions, and whether you rely on delivery. A national inflation number cannot perfectly describe your cart. If you buy a lot of items that rose faster than average, your personal grocery inflation may feel much worse. So what can shoppers actually do? First, pay attention to unit prices. The shelf price tells you the cost of the package. The unit price tells you the cost of what you are actually getting. This is especially useful when comparing different sizes or brands. Second, watch for shrinkflation. If a product feels like it runs out faster than before, check the package size. You may not be imagining it. Third, compare store brands. Private label products are often much cheaper, and in many categories they are very similar to name brands. Fourth, be careful with multi-buy deals. A deal is only a deal if you actually need the extra items and will use them before they expire. Fifth, plan around flexible ingredients. Rice, beans, pasta, eggs, frozen vegetables, potatoes, oats, canned tomatoes, and seasonal produce can help stretch meals without relying on expensive convenience foods. Sixth, separate wants from staples. There is nothing wrong with buying snacks or treats, but they can quietly inflate the bill. Many packaged snack foods have become expensive for the amount of food you get. Finally, rotate stores if it makes sense. One store may be cheaper for produce, another for pantry items, another for bulk goods. But this only helps if the savings are worth the extra time and transportation. The big takeaway is this: groceries can still feel expensive even when inflation slows because prices are not falling back to the old normal. They are rising more slowly from a much higher base. On top of that, shrinkflation, supply chain problems, labor costs, energy costs, transportation, packaging, store psychology, and product-specific shocks all affect what you pay. So when someone says inflation is improving, they may be right on paper. But that does not mean your grocery bill feels better yet. For most shoppers, the real question is not whether inflation is slowing. The real question is, how much food can the same amount of money buy today? And for many people, the answer is still uncomfortable.